RBK presents
Adventures of a Nepali Frog by Kanak Dixit. Illustrations by Subhas Rai. Chapter 6. A Wild and Wet Party. All the creatures, including the guests from Kathmandu, had become increasingly morose as they learned from Royal Bengal how lovely and wild all of Chitwan Valley once was. For a while, everyone forgot that there was a party to be enjoyed. And then, suddenly, the clouds opened up. A flash of jagged lightning cut across the sky. It took a couple of seconds for the thunderclap to hit the forest clearing, loud enough to set the heart racing. Winds came from nowhere and swooped down on the forest canopy, bending the branches of trees great and small. Gray clouds with dark underbellies churned overhead. Soon it began to rain, at first in large drops, which pattered on the leaves, then in sheets that came slashing down with a roaring sound which drowned out even the thunder that was constantly crashing overhead. There is nothing a frog likes more than a monsoon shower, and this one had a ferocity Bhakta Prasad had not experienced. This deluge was something to tell the folks back home about. Around him, every creature great and small was making the most of the downpour. Magar looked up and opened his jaw wide to let the raindrops tickle his palate. The langurs slithered down the wet tree trunks and swung by the vines. Parrots, turtle doves, and ravens competed in a screeching racket and flew awkwardly about, their plumage disheveled by the wind and rain. Even Royal Bengal became animated. She graciously invited Bhakta Prasad to hop on her back, and together they cavorted around the waterlogged clearing. Bhakta Prasad had not had so much fun since playing tag with his froglet brothers and sisters. Look at him now, riding a Chitwan tiger, and all these new friends. He could not hold himself back. "Yay!" cried Bhakta Prasad for the second time during his adventure. "I'm a hero!" The squall departed as quickly as it had arrived, and the forest became suddenly quiet. There was nothing to be heard other than the drops of water falling off the leaves and vines. Then, from high above in the forest canopy, the parrots set off an alarm. "The elephants are coming! The elephants are coming!" Bhakta Prasad looked around in amazement as the animals hurriedly slipped into the undergrowth or underwater. Magar shuffled down to the river, took a deep breath, and sank to the bottom to wait out the intruders. Royal Bengal glanced back apologetically and said, "Sorry, Bhakte," as she flicked the frog off her back and into a patch of rhino dung where he made a soft landing. The tiger disappeared into the tall grass. The party was clearly over, but something else was beginning. The elephants lumbered into view, a whole line of them, maybe 5. But what was this? These were not wild elephants, which is what Bhakta Prasad had expected. Tarai Toad came to stand by his side, and he explained the strange procession as it went past. "Those are domesticated elephants, trained by the humans to do what they want. Those are tourists riding horas on the elephants' backs. They come to Chitwan to look at us wildlife." As Frog and Toad peered out from behind the pile of rhino dung, they could clearly see that the tourists were displeased. After having spent so much time and money to come here, they were not seeing Chitwan's fauna. No wonder they were not smiling. "This is most curious," thought Bhakta Prasad. There were rhinos, tigers, sloth bears, and wild boar all around in the undergrowth, but these humans had not a clue. As far as they were concerned, Chitwan's jungle was just trees and more trees. Their cameras and binoculars hung idly by their neck straps. "So they spend large amounts of money to come to Chitwan just to look at leaves, branches, and tree trunks?" Bhakta Prasad exclaimed, most amused. Tarai Toad nodded, trying to control the mirth that made his fat belly bulge and contract. The tame elephants, looking as unhappy as their human passengers, heaved and swayed past the frog and toad. All around the clearing you could hear the wild animals tittering as they tried desperately to suppress their laughter. "Oh, what a dull place the Chitwan jungle must seem to people," said Bhakta Prasad. When he did not get a reply from his friend, Bhakta Prasad turned to look for Tarai Toad, but he was nowhere to be seen. Concerned, Bhakta Prasad hopped this way and that. All the other animals were still in hiding, and he only saw Magar, the crocodile, his great jaws chewing on some tiny morsel. Magar then returned to the water's edge. Before he slipped into the slowly moving current, the crocodile gave a backward glance at Bhaktaprasad, who was shaking with shock and sorrow. He said, "Mr. Frog from Kathmandu, never forget that Chitwan is a jungle. Here, the law of the jungle prevails. This is no place for you, Bhakte. A village creature like you might like Pokhara better. Try Pokhara." With a snort and a ripple, the crocodile was gone. Terrified, Bhaktaprasad hopped his way out of the national park of Chitwan as fast as his hind legs could hop him.